Listen closely. Look around you. Take a real hard look at the faces here. Every single one of you carries a story, a tapestry woven with threads of triumph and, yes, threads of setback, threads of moments where you soared and moments where you stumbled, moments where the light shone brightly on your path and moments where darkness threatened to consume you. I'm not here today to paint a fairy tale. I'm not here to tell you that the road ahead will be paved with ease and comfort. Life, in its rawest form, is a battlefield. It throws punches. It lands blows you didn't see coming. It tests the very fiber of your being. And one of the most universal experiences on this battlefield, failure. The very word can send shivers down our spines. It conjures images of defeat, of inadequacy, of dreams shattered on the unforgiving rocks of reality. We're taught from a young age to strive for perfection, to chase flawless victories, to avoid the sting of falling short at all costs. But I'm here to tell you that this fear, this ingrained aversion to failure is crippling us. It's holding us back from the very greatness we are capable of achieving. Think about it. How many brilliant ideas have been buried 6 feet under because of the fear of ridicule? How many audacious dreams have withered on the vine because of the apprehension of not measuring up? How many leaps of faith have been aborted midair because the landing looked uncertain? We build these elaborate safety nets, these intricate systems designed to cushion every potential fall. We play it safe. We color inside the lines. We cling to the familiar, even if the familiar is suffocating our potential. And why? Because we're terrified of the F word, failure. But what if I told you that our perception is flawed? What if I told you that failure isn't the antithesis of success, but rather a crucial ingredient in its recipe? What if the stumbles, the missteps, the times we fall flat on our faces are not signs of our weakness, but rather evidence of our courage to try, to venture beyond the comfortable shores of the known? Consider the greatest among us, the innovators who redefined industries, the artists who moved our souls, the leaders who inspired nations. Do you honestly believe their paths were paved with uninterrupted success? Did they magically bypass the trials and tribulations that plague the rest of us? Absolutely not. Their journeys were likely riddled with more setbacks, more rejections, more moments of doubt than we can even fathom. Think of the Wright brothers. Years of tinkering, countless failed attempts before they finally took to the skies. Imagine the ridicule, the skepticism they must have faced. Yet, they persisted. They learned from every crash landing, every design flaw. They fell again and again, but each time they fell forward, closer to their groundbreaking achievement. Consider the indomitable spirit of Nelson Mandela. Decades of unjust imprisonment, yet his resolve to fight for freedom never wavered. Did he not experience moments of despair, moments where the weight of his struggle felt unbearable? Of course he did. But he channeled that pain, that perceived failure of his immediate circumstances, into an unwavering commitment to his ultimate goal. He fell, but he fell forward, carrying the hopes of a nation on his shoulders. I've said it before, and it bears repeating. Don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid not to try. The real failure lies not in the falling, but in the refusal to rise. The true tragedy is not in the misstep, but in the decision to remain grounded in fear, never daring to take that initial leap. So, What does it truly mean to fall forward? It's not about recklessly charging into every situation without thought or preparation. It's about embracing the inherent risk that comes with pushing your boundaries, with striving for something greater than your current reality. And when inevitably you stumble, because you will, it's about extracting the invaluable lessons embedded within that experience. Falling forward means dissecting the failure, understanding the why, analyzing the miscalculations, the oversights, the areas where you could have done better. It's about turning that moment of perceived defeat into a data point, a piece of crucial information that informs your next move. It's about maintaining momentum, even in the face of adversity. The inertia of inaction is a powerful force. Once you allow the weight of failure to anchor you to the spot, it becomes exponentially harder to get moving again. Falling forward is about using the very force of your stumble to propel you into the next attempt, armed with new knowledge and a renewed sense of purpose. It's about resilience, the ability to bounce back, not just to get back on your feet, but to come back stronger, wiser, more determined. Every time you fall forward, you're building that inner muscle of resilience. You're proving to yourself that you can withstand the storm, that you can learn from the darkness and emerge into the light. And it's about perspective, reframing failure not as a condemnation, but as a necessary detour on the path to your destination. It's understanding that the journey is rarely a straight line, and that the stumbles along the way can often provide the most profound insights. Think about the greatest innovations in history. Many were born out of failed experiments, out of unforeseen obstacles that forced a change in approach. Necessity, they say, is the mother of invention, and often that necessity arises from a perceived failure of the initial plan. I've learned throughout my life that you got to go through it to get to it. There are no shortcuts to true growth, to lasting achievement. You have to navigate the valleys to appreciate the peaks. You have to experience the darkness to truly value the light. And yes, you will fall, but the key is to fall forward. Don't let the fear of falling keep you tethered to the ground. Don't let the potential for failure paralyze your ambition. Embrace the risk. Take the leap. And when you stumble, and you will, learn from it, grow from it. Use that momentum to propel you forward, because the only true failure is the failure to try. The only real defeat is the one you accept. And the only way to ensure you never reach your full potential is to never dare to fall in the pursuit of it. So today, I implore you, don't shy away from challenges. Don't let the fear of failure dictate your decisions. Embrace the struggle. Embrace the learning. And when you inevitably stumble, remember these words: fall forward. It's not about avoiding the fall. It's about how you rise from it. It's about the direction of your momentum, even in the face of adversity. Keep moving, keep learning, keep growing. Your greatest triumphs may lie just beyond your next fall. So, fall forward and rise stronger than ever before. The world is waiting to witness your resilience. Don't disappoint it. Don't disappoint yourself. Now, go out there and fall forward with purpose. Listen closely. Ask yourself a raw, honest question. Why does that single word, failure, wield such immense power over us? Why can it freeze our resolve, extinguish the flames of passion, and shackle us to the false security of the familiar? We're raised in a world that lionizes success, while failure is often relegated to the shadows, deemed a stain that cannot be erased. From our earliest years, we're taught to evade it at all costs. A poor grade is a mark of shame. A stumble on stage invites ridicule. Not reaching a goal feels like a definitive end to all endeavor. This society, it force feeds us a narrow definition of triumph, airbrushing reality to present flawless, unattainable ideals. We gaze at social media feeds, at the glossy headlines, and we see only the dazzling peaks, oblivious to the treacherous valleys those who've reached them have had to navigate. We compare the curated highlights of others' lives to the raw, unedited footage of our own struggles, our own silent defeats, and we whisper to ourselves, I'm not good enough. I don't measure up. This fear of failure, it seeps into the very marrow of our being. It plants seeds of doubt that sprout into hesitation, causing us to recoil from new challenges. Have you ever felt a brilliant idea ignite within you, a burning desire compelling you to action, only to have the insidious voice of self-doubt immediately interject? What makes you think you can do that? You lack the experience. You're bound to fail. Where does that voice originate? It's the progeny of the fear of failure, a phantom lurking in the shadows of your own mind. We dread judgment. We recoil from the scrutinizing gazes, the stinging critiques. We fear the crushing weight of not meeting the expectations of others, and even more acutely, the bitter taste of our own disappointment. Have you ever procrastinated on a crucial project, avoided a vital conversation, simply because you were terrified of a less than ideal outcome? You're allowing fear to steer the course of your life. But consider the very essence of learning. How does a child learn to walk? They fall hundreds, thousands of times. Do they analyze the physics of balance and propulsion before taking their first tentative step? No. They stumble, they wobble, they reach for support, and they fall. Yet, with each tumble, they gather data. They learn about weight distribution, about muscle coordination, about the resilience of the human spirit. They don't see the fall as a definitive statement of their inability to walk. They see it as information, a necessary step on the path to mastery. Why then do we, as adults, treat failure with such utter disdain? Why do we allow it to paralyze us when it is, in its purest form, feedback? It's the universe offering us a course correction. It's life saying, okay, that didn't work. Try again. Try differently. It's an invaluable opportunity to dissect what went wrong, to glean wisdom from our missteps, and to emerge stronger and more informed. The irony is profound. Our very fear of failure often leads to the greatest failure of all, the failure to even try. We become so fixated on avoiding the potential pain of falling short that we never allow ourselves the possibility of soaring. We remain tethered to the ground by the chains of our own apprehension, never experiencing the exhilaration of flight. Think about the dreams that lie dormant within you, the aspirations that whisper in the quiet moments of your day. What is preventing you from pursuing them with every fiber of your being? Is it a lack of resources, a lack of opportunity? Or is it perhaps the looming specter of failure, casting its long shadow over your ambitions? We must understand that failure is not a full stop, it's a comma. It's a pause for reflection, a moment for recalibration, not a permanent end to the sentence of our aspirations. The path to any significant achievement is rarely a straight unblemished line. It is often a winding road marked by detours, potholes, and yes, the occasional dead end. But it is in navigating these obstacles, in learning from these setbacks, that we truly grow, that we truly discover the depth of our resilience and the tenacity of our spirit. I've said it before, and it's a truth that resonates through the ages. The only man who never makes a mistake is the man who never does anything. If you are living, if you are breathing, if you are striving, you will inevitably encounter failure. It is an intrinsic part of the human experience. The question is not whether you will fall, but how you will rise. And that, my friends, is where the power of fall forward truly takes hold. We will delve deeper into that concept, into the actionable steps we can take to transform our relationship with failure, to see it not as a terminal diagnosis, but as a vital sign of growth and progress. We will explore how to extract the gold from the ashes of our missteps and how to use the very momentum of our falls to propel us towards our ultimate triumphs. This fear that grips us, this societal pressure to be perfect, it's a lie. It's a shackle on our potential. We must break free from it. We must embrace the stumbles as much as the strides, because it is in those moments of apparent defeat that the seeds of our greatest victories are often sown. So, what does this concept of fall forward truly mean in the context of our real lives? It's not a mere platitude, a superficial piece of encouragement. It's an active philosophy, a proactive approach to the inevitable stumbles on the path to achieving our aspirations. Falling forward doesn't advocate for recklessness or a blindly daring attitude. On the contrary, it demands the courage to act, to step outside the confines of our comfort zones, fully aware that the risk of failure invariably looms. When you fall forward, you're not simply picking yourself up after a setback. That's merely the initial stage. The true action lies in your willingness to analyze that fall. You dissect it objectively without assigning blame or offering excuses. You ask yourself, what chain of events led to this failure? What warning signs did I overlook? What decisions proved to be miscalculations? What gaps in my knowledge, skills, or strategy need to be addressed? This process of analysis mirrors a scientist meticulously examining a failed experiment. They don't view it as the termination of their work. Instead, they gather data, they seek out unforeseen variables, and they adjust their hypothesis for subsequent attempts. You too must treat each failure as an experiment, an invaluable source of data to refine your trajectory. Falling forward also necessitates unwavering perseverance. There will be crushing defeats, agonizing stumbles that leave you feeling utterly defeated, yearning to surrender. These are the moments that truly test the mettle of your spirit. Will you lie there, allowing despair to engulf every flicker of hope? Or will you summon an inner strength to rise, even if it's just incrementally? I've said it before. Persistence can change failure into extraordinary achievement. Falling forward is persistence with direction. You're not merely repeating the same mistakes ad infinitum. You rise with a revised plan, an adjusted approach informed by the hard-won lessons of your previous stumble. You move forward, not blindly, but with greater caution and enhanced wisdom. Furthermore, falling forward demands agility and adaptability. Sometimes failure serves as a stark indicator that the path you're currently on is misaligned with your ultimate destination. It can be a signal that you need to pivot your strategy, perhaps even reevaluate your initial goals. Rigidity and inflexibility will only condemn you to repeatedly tripping over the same stone. Falling forward requires you to be malleable enough to change course when necessary, to seize unexpected opportunities that may emerge in the aftermath of a setback. Imagine a powerful river encountering a massive boulder obstructing its path. Does it futilely attempt to smash directly through the unyielding rock? No. It will seek out any available crevices or even reroute its entire course to continue its journey towards the vast ocean. That is the very flexibility, the very adaptability that falling forward instills. Another crucial facet of falling forward is sustaining momentum. Failure can breed discouragement, even despair. But those who truly fall forward refuse to allow these negative emotions to dictate their actions for long. They actively seek to reignite their passion, to refocus on their ultimate objective, and to view each setback as a temporary retreat before a more powerful surge forward. I've said it before, don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. Falling forward is a defiant declaration against the voices of doubt, both external and internal. It's an affirmation of your belief in yourself, in your capacity to overcome adversity, in the ultimate attainability of your aspirations. Recall the stories of the great inventors. They faced countless instances of ridicule, skepticism, even outright opposition before their groundbreaking ideas were finally recognized. But they refused to let those naysayers deter them. They continued to experiment, continued to fail, and continued to move forward with an unshakable faith in their vision. Falling forward isn't a singular act. It's a series of positive responses to failure. It's the amalgamation of analysis, perseverance, adaptability, and sustained momentum. It's the very process of transforming seemingly terminal setbacks into the stepping stones that pave the path to triumph. So, how do we truly embody fall forward in our daily lives? It begins with recalibrating our perception of failure. Instead of viewing it as a source of shame, we must embrace it as an opportunity for profound learning. Instead of allowing it to crush our spirit, we must let it forge an unyielding resilience within us. Instead of shying away from it, we must confront it head on with a spirit of inquiry. Next, we must cultivate the ability to analyze failure objectively. In the aftermath of each stumble, we must dedicate time to thoughtful reflection. We must meticulously document the lessons learned. We must pinpoint the actions we would undertake differently in the future. We must transform each setback into an invaluable learning session. Then, we must nurture unwavering perseverance and a fighting spirit. There will be moments when the urge to quit feels overwhelming, but these are precisely the junctures where we must dig deeper than ever before. We must reconnect with our core motivations, vividly visualize our ultimate success, and actively seek out sources of inspiration, both internal and external. Finally, we must remain open to change and adaptation. We must avoid becoming rigidly attached to a single path. If we consistently find ourselves tripping over the same obstacles, it is likely time to explore a new direction. We must cultivate flexibility, embrace creativity, and remain willing to adjust our plans when necessary. Falling forward doesn't guarantee that we will never stumble again, but it does guarantee that with each fall, we will not squander the opportunity for progress. We will refuse to allow failure to become the definitive end of our journey. We will harness the very momentum of our stumbles to propel ourselves towards new heights. That is the true power of falling forward. That is how we transform perceived defeats into the very building blocks of our ultimate success. Remember, it's not the number of times you fall that truly matters. It's the number of times you rise and continue moving forward, armed with the wisdom gleaned from each descent. And always, always fall forward with a spirit of relentless learning and an unyielding will. Now, we've dissected the fear of failure and deciphered the philosophy of fall forward. But how do we transform those individual stumbles into a sustained drive, an inner strength that isn't easily extinguished? The answer lies in building resilience, the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties, not just to get back on our feet, but to emerge stronger with each recovery. Falling forward is a process of cultivating resilience step by step through each instance of confronting and overcoming failure. Think of a seasoned prize fighter. They don't become a champion after a single bout. They endure hundreds, thousands of grueling hours of training, absorbing countless painful blows during sparring sessions. Each time they're knocked down, they learn to rise faster, to defend better, to deliver more effective punches. Past defeats don't break them. They forge them into a more formidable warrior. Falling forward embodies that indomitable spirit, that refusal to accept permanent defeat. Resilience isn't an innate quality. It's cultivated over time, through experience, particularly through challenging experiences. Every time you fall forward, you're reinforcing your mental armor. You're proving to yourself that you can withstand even the harshest trials. You're building an unwavering belief in your own capacity to bounce back. Another crucial element of fall forward is adaptability. The world is in constant flux, and the path to success rarely follows a rigid, predetermined course. Failures often serve as signals that your current approach needs adjustment, perhaps even a complete overhaul of your goals if necessary. Rigidity and inflexibility will only trap you in cycles of repeated setbacks. Falling forward demands that you be agile enough to recognize when a change is needed, when to explore a new avenue, when to acquire new skills. Observe how species evolve to adapt to harsh environments. Those that cannot adapt face extinction. Similarly, in life, those who resist change, who fail to learn from their stumbles, will struggle to survive and thrive. Falling forward embodies the spirit of evolution, of continuous learning and adaptation to overcome any circumstance. Falling forward also necessitates a long-term perspective. You cannot judge success or failure in a single moment. The small defeats of today can be invaluable lessons for the monumental triumphs of tomorrow. Don't allow temporary setbacks to discourage you and cause you to abandon your aspirations. Always maintain a clear vision of your ultimate goal and view each stumble as a necessary step back before a more significant leap forward. I've said it before. Success isn't final. Failure isn't fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Falling forward embodies that very courage, the bravery to keep moving, even when you're groping in the darkness of defeat. It's the understanding that the journey to achievement is a tapestry woven with threads of progress and regression, of successes and failures intertwined. Think of a mountaineer conquering a towering peak. They cannot ascend in a straight line without encountering steep inclines, treacherous ravines, and unexpected storms. They may slip, they may get injured, but they don't give up. They rest when necessary, seek safer routes, and continue their ascent with unwavering determination. Falling forward is the spirit of that mountaineer, never relinquishing their goal, no matter the obstacles. To truly fall forward, we need to reframe our relationship with failure. Instead of viewing it as an enemy, we must embrace it as a stern but fair teacher. We must learn to listen to the lessons it imparts. We must cherish the experiences it bestows upon us, because it is these very failures that will mold us into stronger, wiser, and more resilient individuals. We also need to build a strong support network. When you stumble, don't hesitate to seek help from those around you: family, friends, colleagues, mentors. Share your struggles, listen to their advice, and accept their encouragement. The support of others can help you navigate the most challenging times and continue to fall forward. Finally, we must practice self-compassion. Failure is an inherent part of the learning and growth process. Don't berate or punish yourself excessively for mistakes made. Accept that you are human and errors are inevitable. Learn from them, forgive yourself, and keep moving forward. Falling forward isn't a magic spell that instantly transforms every failure into success, but it is a positive mindset, a powerful approach to confronting adversity. It's the understanding that failure isn't the final destination, but merely a bend in the road. And most importantly, it's an unwavering belief in your ability to overcome any challenge and ultimately achieve your aspirations. Remember, true strength lies not in never falling, but in always knowing how to rise and fall forward, stronger and wiser with each stumble. That is the long-term journey of resilience and adaptation, a journey that each and every one of us has the capacity to conquer. By this point, we've collectively explored the deep-seated roots of our fear of failure and the inherent power embedded within the philosophy of fall forward. But knowledge without transformation into action remains akin to seeds dormant within the earth. So, how do we translate this understanding of fall forward into a tangible driving force, a guiding principle for every step we take on the path to achieving our goals? The answer lies in proactive action, even when confronted by the looming specter of potential failure. Listen to me. The chasm that often separates those who achieve greatness from those who merely harbor dreams is bridged by the willingness to act. Successful individuals don't tarry for a mythical moment of perfect alignment before they embark on their journey. They dare to step outside the perceived safety of their comfort zones. They embrace experimentation. They court calculated risks, even when acutely aware of the possibility of stumbling. Falling forward demands that you overcome the inertia of procrastination, conquer the paralysis of indecision, and take action even when fear attempts to tighten its grip. I've said it before. Don't wait. The time will never be just right. Falling forward is an urgent call to action. Don't allow the fear of failure to anchor your feet to the ground. Begin with small, deliberate steps, concrete actions that propel you towards your objectives. Each action, no matter how seemingly insignificant, generates momentum and helps you overcome the inertia of stagnation. Another vital aspect of translating fall forward into action is the deliberate act of learning from others, particularly those who have navigated similar failures and emerged stronger on the other side. Seek out mentors, seasoned individuals, those who can impart the hard-earned wisdom gleaned from their own stumbles. Absorb their narratives, learn from their missteps, and apply those invaluable lessons to your own unfolding journey. Have you ever pondered how successful entrepreneurs weathered the tumultuous early stages of their ventures? They sought guidance from those who had traversed that challenging terrain before them. They actively solicited advice, and they relentlessly adjusted their strategies based on feedback and the inevitable failures they encountered. Falling forward doesn't necessitate a solitary, stumbling journey through the darkness. Leverage the intellect and experience of others to illuminate your path. Furthermore, falling forward necessitates the cultivation of a growth mindset. Individuals who embrace a growth mindset firmly believe that abilities and intelligence are not fixed traits, but can be developed through dedication, diligent effort, and unwavering perseverance. They don't perceive failure as an immutable indictment of their inherent inadequacy, but rather as an invaluable opportunity for learning and subsequent improvement. Conversely, those shackled by a fixed mindset often view their capabilities as static and unchangeable, interpreting failure as conclusive proof of their limitations, thus hindering their willingness to embrace risk and learn from setbacks. Think about the relentless dedication of elite athletes. They don't view a missed shot or a lost game as evidence of their inherent lack of talent. Instead, they meticulously analyze their performance, identify areas for improvement, and relentlessly train to hone their skills. Their failures fuel their determination to evolve and ultimately achieve victory. Falling forward thrives in the fertile ground of a growth mindset, where setbacks are viewed not as final pronouncements, but as temporary detours on the path to mastery. To truly embody fall forward in action, we must also cultivate courageous experimentation. Fear often confines us to the well-trodden paths of the familiar, stifling our creativity and hindering our ability to discover innovative solutions. Falling forward requires us to venture beyond the perceived safety of the known, to embrace calculated risks, and to be willing to try unconventional approaches, even when the outcome remains uncertain. Every experiment, whether it yields the desired result or not, provides valuable insights that can inform our future actions. Moreover, falling forward demands consistent self-reflection. After each attempt, each action taken, regardless of the immediate outcome, we must take the time to honestly assess what transpired, what worked well, what could have been done differently, what key learnings can be extracted to inform our future endeavors. This process of continuous evaluation ensures that we are not simply repeating the same mistakes, but are actively learning and evolving with each step, each stumble, each fall forward. Finally, falling forward is intrinsically linked to unwavering self-belief. Despite the inevitable setbacks and the potential for external criticism, you must maintain an unwavering conviction in your own capacity to ultimately succeed. This doesn't equate to blind arrogance, but rather a deep-seated trust in your ability to learn, to adapt, and to persevere through any obstacle. Your belief in yourself will serve as the bedrock upon which your resilience is built and the fuel that propels you forward, even when the path ahead appears shrouded in doubt. In essence, fall forward is not a passive acceptance of failure. It is an active engagement with it. It is about transforming setbacks from stumbling blocks into stepping stones. It requires us to move beyond the theoretical understanding of failure and to actively integrate its lessons into our actions. It demands courage, a growth-oriented mindset, a willingness to learn from others, consistent self-reflection, and an unwavering belief in our own potential. So let us not merely speak of falling forward, but let us embody it in every step we take, every risk we embrace, and every challenge we confront. Let our actions be a testament to our understanding that failure is not the antithesis of success, but an indispensable component of its eventual realization. Now, go forth and not just talk about falling forward, but actively, courageously, and relentlessly fall forward into your own greatness. So, we stand here today having navigated the intricate landscape of fear and the profound wisdom embedded within the principle of fall forward. We acknowledged the paralyzing grip of apprehension, dissected the anatomy of setbacks, and illuminated the path towards resilience and growth. The journey we've undertaken together underscores a fundamental truth. Failure is not a destination, but an inevitable way station on the road to achievement. It is not a signpost directing us to turn back, but rather a marker indicating that we are pushing our boundaries, venturing beyond the confines of the ordinary. The essence of fall forward is not about seeking out stumbles, but about cultivating an unwavering mindset in their wake. It's about transforming those moments of apparent defeat into potent catalysts for progress. It demands that we shed the crippling weight of societal stigma surrounding failure and instead embrace it as a crucible for forging strength, wisdom, and an unyielding determination. Remember this: the ground is not your final resting place after a fall. It is merely a temporary point of contact, a moment for recalibration before you gather your strength and rise again, armed with newfound knowledge and a more refined sense of purpose. The momentum of that fall, if harnessed correctly, can be the very force that propels you to greater heights than you ever thought possible. The world needs your unique talents, your audacious dreams, your unwavering perseverance. Don't allow the fear of stumbling to keep you tethered to the familiar. Embrace the inherent risks that accompany any meaningful pursuit. Take that leap of faith, even when the landing appears uncertain. And when you inevitably encounter those moments of imbalance, those times when you feel yourself faltering, remember the power of fall forward. It is in those very moments, those instances of perceived defeat, that your true character is revealed. Will you succumb to the weight of disappointment, or will you summon the inner fortitude to rise, to learn, to adapt, and to continue your relentless ascent? The choice, as it always has been, lies squarely within your grasp. So, go forth from this moment with a renewed understanding of failure's true nature. Embrace the stumbles, dissect the setbacks, and extract the invaluable lessons they hold. Let the momentum of your falls propel you forward with greater intention and unwavering resolve. Cultivate resilience, embrace adaptability, and never, ever underestimate the power of a growth mindset. The path to your greatest achievements will undoubtedly be paved with moments of falling, but it will be your unwavering commitment to fall forward that ultimately leads you to triumph. Now, rise up, embrace the journey, and fall forward into your destiny.